Good morning. This is the Computer Science 1105 final project. I'm representing Group 1 with the members of Alexis Toombs, Ariana Talmadge, myself, Austin Cloud, and Bryce Owens. The goal of this project was that you're a person moving into a new apartment, new house, new area, and you have a budget of $1,000 to purchase a new desktop and router. With that $1,000 budget, I was able to find the Netgear Nighthawk C7000 and the HP Slim desktop for under $1,000. The desktop is good because it takes up a small amount of space on the desk, but provides strong computing, which, with that ability of computing, I can do whatever I could possibly need. I also found this Netgear router, which will allow me to have fast internet speed and good security for an affordable price. As you can see, there are steps that come with solving this problem of us getting our devices, one, found and secured. So, step 2 is device intrusion in the discover phase. The problem here is that all devices must be protected against intrusion from other people. The scope of the problem is that we must examine the methods of avoiding outside parties having access to our devices without permission. The impasse and risks that we face are that it's possible that someone you do not want having access to your devices will possibly have access. For example, a mother might not want her child to have access to their computer, cell phone, tablet, or etc. without permission. And the people affected is you as the owner. Here we have step 2 of device intrusion, the design phase. So part of the design phase is having 2 different solutions and choosing which one that we would recommend is the best option. So for solution 1, we have placing a password on all of your devices, a password with multiple different types of characters and are fairly lengthy. Be sure to change your password often. And solution 2 is locking your devices in your room. Now, for good reason, we recommend solution 1 as the best choice, as locking it up just isn't enough, as in many cases, not only your child, but somebody who's broken into your house can easily get into a room that you've locked away. There's nothing stopping them from breaking a lock or kicking the door down. Now that we're moving on to step 3, malware security, the discover phase portion, we have a new set of problem, scope, impact, risk, and people affected. So starting off with problem, we have our devices must be secure from malware. The scope of the problem is that we must examine methods on how we can secure these devices from malware. The impact and risk that we face is that if any one of our devices are infected with malware, this can slow our devices, spread our sensitive information to others, send emails from our email address posing as us, which can result in identity theft. The people affected is ourselves, our friends and family, and our coworkers, etc. Moving on to step 3, the design phase portion of malware security, we once again have 2 solutions, but now we have to choose between which one is the better option. So the first solution for malware security is to use a VPN or another kind of antivirus software to defend your devices from any viruses, worms, trojans, etc. and leaking sensitive information online. All right. And then solution 2, we have to ensure that you keep your operating systems updated and steering weary of suspicious emails and avoiding suspicious websites. And group 1, we recommend that you use both of these options because both of these options are very well. One, having your OS fully updated or up to date can help keep your device running well, and using the VPN is just an extra way to stay safe. And obviously you need to keep your antivirus updated because at any moment you just scrolling on your device on social media or the internet or wherever, and you could accidentally get trapped as you face a cyber attack, and you won't even know it until it's too late. Now we're halfway complete as we reach step 4, being security aware, the discover phase portion. Once again, we have a new problem scope and on and on. Starting off again, we have a problem. Being unable to recognize warning signs of illegitimate websites or online predators allows tech users to be vulnerable to deception and other things such as malware. Scope of this problem is to examine cyber-targeted audiences in different ways people are uneducated about their tech security. The impact and risk that we face with this is, depending on the level of security breach, a person could experience something like catfishing on an interpersonal level, or something on a much more serious scale such as financial fraud and loss of personal income. The situation determines the level of impact and therefore determines the level that detriments to a person of business. The people affected in this are our friends, family, self, and business. Moving on to the design phase of step 4, we once again have 2 different solutions to choose from. And for solution 1, we have 5 steps. Step 1, we have to ensure you have a secure Wi-Fi connection. For step 2, you'll identify the malware security or other security platforms downloaded onto your device. For step 3, you'll locate the additional information provided by the security platforms. For step 4, you'll read about the risks the security program is working to help your computer avoid. And for step 5, you'll download any additional security needed. It sounds really good. Now for solution 2, once again with 5 steps. Step 1, you'll ensure that you have a secure Wi-Fi connection. Step 2, outsource for any information on different ways to protect yourself and your device. It's always good to stay educated. Step 3, take logical notes to help recognize different warning signs and things to avoid. So that's once you educate yourself, giving yourself that eye of knowing what to look for. Step 4, educate other users on the same device on warning signs and poor security. So that's once you give yourself the eye, you train other people so they can have that same eye of knowing what's right and what's wrong. And step 5, download any additional security needed. So solution 2 sounds very good. It allows the user to read multiple sources that provide multiple options on how to protect your device as opposed to just one security service. It's always good to have backup. Here we have step 5 of the discover phase. Internet must be secure from unauthorized access, right? And the problem we face here is that internet should be secure from unauthorized access because network security is critical because it prevents cyber criminals from gaining access to valuable data and sensitive information. Impact and risks that you face here is that an individual can harm a company in a number of ways once they have gained illegal access to a data or computer networks. They might outright take data, files, or other material. To further hack accounts, they might have to make use of unauthorized access. The solutions that we have here is to strengthen the privacy settings, browse with the secure VPN, and monitor user activity. The people affected are children and adults. For the design phase of step 5, once again we have 2 solutions. For solution 1, you can change your privacy settings. For step 2, turn off location tracking so your location is not able to be tracked by cyber criminals. For step 3, you have to turn off access to your photos. They're not listed here, but for step 4, you can turn off access to any apps specifically that may try to track your movement throughout the day outside of photos and location tracking. Some apps are tedious about it. For step 5, stay off of malicious websites and refrain from clicking links in suspicious emails. For solution 2, step 1, you have to go to your app store on your device. For step 2, download a secure VPN. NordVPN is a good one. For step 3, we have when browsing the internet, be secure to turn on your VPN. Once again, the further ones are here. For step 4, you educate yourself on the dangers of visiting suspicious websites and what malware looks like. And for step 5, while browsing with the VPN, stay cautious of suspicious websites as they could be malicious. So here, solution 2 seems to be the best one because just turning off access to your photos, that doesn't really do much, because some apps, they have it to where it won't track you while you're not using it, but as soon as you open it, it'll start tracking you there. So turning on the VPN does help a little bit, and staying cautious, making sure you don't do anything that can harm your device. Here we have step 6, right? All devices must be up to date and functioning properly. Discover phase. The problem we have here is that we must ensure that we are staying cyber secure by ensuring our operating system is always up to date. The impact and risk that we face here is that every time our phone alerts that you need an app to be updated, we could become annoyed and maybe even ignore it. But by doing so, you risk major security risks. Solutions that we have here is to update your device's software regularly when notified to do so. They always gonna tell you. Update your apps and buy new devices. Right? It's 2022. We still shouldn't have an iPhone 4. Right? The people affected here is ourselves, our family, and our friends. Still on step 6 on the design phase portion, we once again have 2 solutions. And for step 1, we'll go to our settings and check for any software updates. Right? For step 2, we'll update our devices to the latest version so that our device has the latest, most secure information. For solution 2, we'll purchase a new device. And for step 2 of solution 2, some old devices are too old to even support the most latest versions of software updates. It's true. Solution 1 seems to be the best option, as it takes no effort or any expenses in order to do this. It's simply just updating your device. Granted, eventually you have to get a new one, but in the moment, just update your device. Here we have step 7, the data recovery section, and the discover phase portion of it. The problem that we face here is that in the result of an incident involving data loss, what are some possible plans of action that can be taken to recover the lost data? The scope of this problem is that we have to examine methods of data recovery and the ways that the data loss occurred. Impact and risk is depending on how the data loss occurred. The impact could be greater. If the data loss is due to operator error and the files are in storage locations such as the cloud, then everything is fine. The people affected we have here are the friends, family, ourselves, and our business. Here we have step 7, data recovery, the design phase, and these are our 2 different solutions. For solution 1, step 1, we must ensure that the house has strong physical security. Ring doorbells are good, and then cameras all around the house, or at least on different corners. For step 2, we have to ensure that the user is properly trained and knowledgeable on how to operate your computer and be aware of emails and pop-ups, as these could be attempts of malware attacks. For step 3, you must determine ways to block anyone from immediately getting onto your computer and accessing your files if they were to enter the room. You could do this by incorporating a form of login on your computer, such as password or biometric login. For step 4, you need to have your files stored on the desktop, or that's the place you'll put it most likely to begin with. But after that, you need a separate place such as a thumb drive so that you can retrieve your files, but you'll still be able to retrieve them if they are lost, stolen, or deleted. Step 5, and this is the final step of solution 1, you need to upload your files into some form of cloud computing. With this, you can connect to more than just your computer device, or even your phone, your tablet, just multiple devices. Some examples are OneDrive, Google Drive, or Windows Azure. For solution 2, we have that step 1, of course. Make sure that your house has door reinforcements for each entrance exit door, so leaving inside outside the house. Step 2, as the user, educate yourself on what cyber attack attempts look like so that if you're ever faced with this problem, you'll be prepared and cautious so that your computer doesn't become infected. So that's staying on top of it, making sure your OS is up to date, and just running any vulnerability tests to see what's going on with your computer. For step 3, you set up any form of locking mechanism so that your computer is not open to anyone. Once again, going back to a password such as just a lengthy password or a biometric login. For step 4, you will encrypt your files so that if the file is accessed, it still needs another form of verification so that it can be opened. So if you encrypt them, if they don't have that encryption key, it's no good. They'll just be looking at a scrambled file. And for step 5, after encrypting said files, you'll save them to a USB hard drive for extra reassurance so that if somehow the file gets deleted, corrupted, or stolen, you can still go back and retrieve it. Here on the final part of step 7, this is just the 2 solutions explained rather than step by step, right? So for the solution 1, it's more expensive but provides greater physical security to the house since you have cameras and the Ring doorbell, right? So this lets you know who is at your doorbell. It's a camera. If you recognize the person, obviously you know them. If you don't, it's a stranger. Having the cameras around your house, it shows you what's going on around and what deers are outside at night, right? Solution 1 also provides you with a tertiary storage location, meaning 3 locations that you can place your files in, right? But once again, even though you have a backup on top of a backup, that's very good. But if one of those files gets stolen, that's it. They still see the information. You just have more places to pull it from. For solution 2, has decent physical security on your house as you put the door stoppers, but that's it. The door stoppers are still reliable. The encrypted files are better than having your files in multiple locations. You know, if you have a file in multiple locations, yeah, you can pull it again if something ever were to happen. But if that information is stolen, it can still be used against you because they got it and they can see it. If it's encrypted, they need that encryption key. And for the USB drive with encrypted files, that creates a safer option in multiple storage locations. Is in order for that drive to stop working and you not to pull from it again, your computer would have to be compromised, or they would have to physically take the drive from you. And if you hide that drive, it's going to be hard to kind of take it. So if we look at the 2 step-by-step version and just the broken down version, step 2 is the best option, as you just can't beat the encryption compared to just having it in a lot of locations, right? You can put all your money in different spots if you want to, but if you take it to the bank that has a safe rather than putting it all in goodie bags, I bet the bank with the safe is going to work better. All right, we made it to the final step, step 8, defending digital communications, the discover phase. For the problem here, we have the digital communications environment must be safe to use and defended. The scope is that you can evaluate the ways digital communication isn't safe for different users and how to prevent it. The impact and risk that we face here is that when using different communication platforms, tech users can attract various viruses, hackers, and other predators, all of which can result in some form of loss or breach of security. The people affected here are our friends, family, self, and business. The final part is the design phase of step 8, still on defending digital communications. We have 2 steps here, and for solution 1, we have that you log into all social media services, you switch all accounts to private, do not accept messages from anyone you do not know, you never send money through third-party services to strangers. In step 5, you keep digital messaging as a form of insurance if needed after experiencing fraud. For solution 2, you go to the Apple Store on your device, you download security app Signal or Wire, go to your internet browser settings, and step 4, deny pop-up browsers. Obviously, step 1 seems to be the best, as by keeping your accounts private, this allows not just any random person to come look at your information. They can see something that they can use on your account against you. So, keeping your circle closed.